Good luck and welcome back to Just 2 Minutes, Just the Mishnah. This is Mishnah El Nishmas, Fredele Bashachan, the Schus of Ali Yitzchak ben Gila, and the Frost there Basuba. So Mesechas Bava basra Perek Zayin, Mishnah Gil, Mishnah Dalad, Mida B'chevel, Ani Marchalach, Hein Chaser, Hein Yaser. If someone says, we discussed yesterday that there's two different ways of selling. Basically, you can say either I'm selling you sort of more or less this amount, or I'm selling you with a rope, meaning I'm going to measure out exactly. So if someone says, I'm going to sell this to you with a rope, measured with a rope, more or less, so then bitel, hein chaser, hein yaser, mida b'chevel, hein chaser, hein yaser, mida b'chevel, bitel, mida b'chevel. So in this case, the hein chaser, hein yaser, the more or less is null and void, basically, because first he said that he's measuring with a rope, so that's what we go according to. But if he said more or less and with a rope, so then we go according to the more or less, meaning we go according to whichever one he said first. Diver bananas according to bananas, but simadav ubimtzara pachas mishtus higiyoi ad shtus yinake. So now another halacha is that if he described this field, he described the boundaries of the field, and it turns out that the field is slightly different. So then, if the difference is less than a sixth of what he described, so then it's okay, and the sale still goes through. But if it's less than that, then he has to take it off from the price. Mishnah Dalad ha'im lechaveri chatzi sadeh ani marchalach meshamnim beinein v'noit chatzi sadeh. So someone says to his friend, I'm selling you half a field. So it doesn't have to literally be half a field. It can also be the amount that the half a field is worth. So let's say he has half of the field, which is worth X amount, and then he has another quarter of his field, which is much nicer, and it's worth the equivalent of the other half. So then he can just give him that quarter as long as it's worth altogether the half. And so too, also, if he says if he says I'm selling you the southern half of my field, so then so then he works out how much the difference is between the other side and the side in the south, and he adds that on basically to even it out, and he gives him the equivalent of the piece of land in the south. And he also, when he sells this field, he has to sell it with a fence, a wide ditch, and a narrow ditch, because what they would do is that in order to stop animals getting into the fields, they would have first a narrow ditch and then a wide ditch, and right next to the wide ditch they would have a fence. So even if the animal managed to get through the narrow ditch, it would then get stuck in the wide ditch and wouldn't be able to jump over the fence because it would already be down this ditch. So then that has to come with the field, basically. And how wide does the wide ditch have to be? It has to be 6 handbreadths, and the narrow ditch has to be half that, has to only be 3 handbreadths. Good vach, and those are today's Mishnayos.